Hey guys, welcome back. We're with Brandon again today, and we are going to flip the script and let him ask me some questions that he has about being a real estate agent.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple questions. I know once we get the purchase contract, there's important dates
Yes.
and deadlines that we go off of. So when you're coming up with those, how do you determine what's best, or how do you come up with when to order an appraisal or what the right timing is for those?
Good question. So my first step, we always call you, make sure the timeline we're thinking actually matches up and make sure the loan can actually close on time. Once you give us a date that you think will work or a date range, we kind of work back from there. So we plan out our closing date, and then usually 3 to 4 days before that, we will have our financing and appraisal deadline. That gives our clients enough time to make sure they can do all their due diligence, get the appraisal back, everything's good, and then they can sign those initial closing disclosures, and we're good at that point. And then usually a week or so before that, we do our due diligence. That gives them time to do the inspection, get any tests back from the inspection they had, and then seller disclosures usually are only a day or two. They're already filled out most of the time.
Great. Yeah, no, it sounds like that's a good way to keep organized and make sure that you're meeting deadlines.
Yeah, you asked about the appraisal too. Usually once we have our inspection done and all the tests back, if our buyer's good with it, then we'll usually order the appraisal at that point, and then that gives you guys time to get everything done and back in.
Yeah, that's usually the best time to do it, just to make sure that everything checks out before spending money for an appraisal
Right.
and then finding out later on that
They
something
didn't need it.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
didn't check out. So, another question: when you guys go to list a house, when you have a client who is ready to sell, what steps or what things do you do in preparation to get that house sold so you can get the client the most money?
That's a good question. So our initial appointment for a listing, we will bring a market analysis, kind of determine what we think the value is, but also check with our clients, make sure what we're thinking is in line with what they're thinking.
Awesome.
Once they're ready to move forward, we have them clean their house. It's hard for buyers to picture themselves in a home that has a lot of personalized decorations or family pictures, things like that. So we'll have them clear out any extra stuff they don't need while they're living there still. And then we actually have a designer come into every house, and she does a consult for us.
Awesome.
Helps us know how to arrange their own furniture, the best way to showcase the house. And she'll kind of bring in rugs or lamps, small things like that to help stage the house to get it ready. And then we do a lot of media for our stuff. Marketing is huge. Showcase the house in the best light. So we'll have our photographer come in, do videos, tours, floor plans, all the photos, everything like that. It's kind of what we do to prep before we list a house.
Yeah, so you guys work with professionals
Yes.
who are specific for that kind of stuff, so you're providing the best value for your client.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I couldn't do a mortgage. I can't stage a house well. I can't take photos. So it's very important for us to have a team of professionals that are working with us in tandem so that we can give our clients the best experience possible.
Right. Oh, that's great. Very good. When you guys have a buyer that wants to make an offer on a home, how do you decide with, there's all sorts of different market conditions. Sometimes, different times of the year, it's more competitive than others. How do you know how aggressive to be on a price, when to ask for seller concessions? How do you kind of come up with that median on how to present an offer to a buyer?
Hard-hitting ones here, aren't you? Obviously, like you said, market changes throughout the year, so it kind of depends on that buyer. We obviously start with a pre-approval from you.
Right.
They kind of know their budget. If we're at the top of the budget, that kind of limits the amount of variables because they're right at that top. But if they have some room, usually we kind of adjust it based on that. But seller concessions, it just kind of depends on the market too. If it's a really big buyer's market, you can ask the sellers to pay for things.
Right.
If they're getting 10 offers, you're probably not getting anything from them.
Right.
So if your buyer needs concessions, you might have to have them find a lower priced house and offer a little bit more and ask for it back in concessions. There's a lot of different options. You can kind kind of tailored depending on what your client needs,
Right.
the timeline they're looking for, if the house needs a lot of repairs, things like that all kind of factor into our decision.
Yeah, great.
And then ultimately, obviously our clients decide in the end what they
Sure.
want to offer, but our
Yeah.
advice varies depending on those things.
Awesome. So you guys kind of analyze everything that's going on at the time, along with the house and how long it's been listed, things like that,
Yep.
to kind of help determine what you think is a fair asking price.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Very good. And then I know something that we get asked a lot is what's my max amount that I'm pre-qualified for? Like, what can I buy? But along with that question is, yes, you can qualify for this, but there's a monthly payment. And sometimes
Exactly.
people can afford something, but in their mind, the monthly payment makes them feel uncomfortable, right?
Exactly.
So when you guys have someone who wants to go look at homes that might be a little bit out of their budget or their comfort zone, how do you guys handle a situation like that where they want this, but this is what their payment makes them comfortable at?
It's always so hard because everybody has an idea of what they want in their head, and a lot of
Right.
times budgets don't match up with that very
Yeah.
well. And so it is kind of a balancing act. Sometimes you can look higher maybe if they're comfortable with the payment. Maybe a house has been sitting longer like we talked about before, and maybe you
Right.
can offer a little bit less and they can get that little bit better house, but for a price they're comfortable with. Sometimes it's unfortunately just showing them things that are in their budget and
Yeah.
saying, you want a payment of this amount, this is what you're getting. Are you happy with that? And sometimes they will stretch their budget a little bit to just get something a tiny bit better that they're comfortable staying in long term.
Right.
Other times they do reevaluate and go back down, but it is hard sometimes to manage those expectations of people because everyone's so excited and emotional
Right.
about buying a house that it can be hard to bring them back down a little bit to reality,
Yeah.
which isn't always fun, but
Right.
definitely
Well, and that's
part of the
where
job.
I think we team up and kind of help people understand, like, this is what you qualify for, this is what you can afford, this is where you're at. Maybe
Yep.
look at homes in this price range, and that's when you guys take them, show them what, makes them comfortable, and
Yeah.
kind of work things out that way.
And I think you come into that play too of, yes, your max budget is X amount, but what does that payment look like? A lot of times
Right.
people want to look at their max, and I'm like, have you talked to him about your payment? Like, are you comfortable with that amount? Because
Right.
really that's what you're looking at in that purchase price, is how much you can afford every month or how much you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So it is important to work together as a team.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's all I got for you today. So,
Okay.
as you've heard, if you work with Jake and Emily, you will get professional service. They'll do a great job in making sure that they set the deadlines just right where they need to be to get you guys in just at the right time and help you get the most out of your home if you're looking to sell. So, anyway, thank you for taking time to talk to us today, and
Thanks for stopping by with us again. We'll see
Yeah.
you next time.
see ya.